I'm Tashell Williams with 22 Collectives, and I'm here today to interview Robert Glasper because we want to know a little bit about his story. So, who is Robert Glasper?
Who is I? I'm a pianist, I'm a composer, producer, a model, obviously. And I'm a child of God, first and foremost. You know, I grew up playing in church. I'm from Houston, Texas. If you just let me go, I'll ramble. Just anybody ask the questions.
Okay, cool beans. So, did you always want to be a musician? Like, is the piano the only instrument that you can play?
The piano's the only instrument that I'm good at, yes.
Okay.
I play a little drums, but I'm not a drummer. So I'm a pianist, that's all I got. Yeah, in some way, you got keys, I can do that. But other than that, before I wanted to be a musician, I wanted to be a track star.
Really?
Yeah, I was really good in sports and track in elementary school and junior high school.
Okay.
To the point where I always brag about this because it's amazing to me, okay? But in elementary school, I went to elementary school in Missouri City.
Okay.
And they had this thing called the physical fitness test. That all Texas, from Kentucky, you have to pass these tests, and you have, they record the records of who gets the best at your school and put them up on the wall for awards, stuff like that. And three out of the 5 awards, 3 out of the 5, I topped the charts for 3 out of the 5. For all of the categories in my age group, it was my name for all 5. As of like maybe 3 years ago, my gym teacher from my elementary school emailed my management like, "Hey, I'm just really proud of Robert, blah, 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 blah. Just want y'all to know 3 out of the 5 records are still haven't been beaten." Yeah, I'm 37 years old. So that means, you know what I mean? So when that was 5th grade, so I don't know, I was 12 or something, whatever. Do the math, 18, boom, that's a lot of years. You know, yeah, it's like 25 years, something like that. You know, I don't know, but nobody beat my records, you know? So that's all I got though, accolades. As far as accolades with sports, that's all I got for you. But I really want to be a musician. I mean, a basketball player, a track star, something in there. So to the point where I auditioned for the High School for Performing Arts in 9th grade for piano. My mom knew a bartender, and I used to go pick up my mom from work late at night at this little bar she used to play at. And when I would go pick her up, she used to have me play a song with her. The bartender was like, "Yo, your son's really good. You know, you should go to High School for Performing Arts. I know the jazz director." So they got me a audition. I made it in, but I was like, I want to play basketball. So I didn't go. I went to Elkins High School and played basketball on the B team. So that didn't really work out for me either. So I was telling people I was sitting on the bench for most of that year of basketball, so I slid that bench right over to the piano. And just did that. So that's when in 10th grade, I was like, you know what? Not even by choice. It's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to make it in the NBA or a track star. So I have this piano thing that I have this natural talent for. Let me just, I'll just go back to the High School Performing Arts. So they let me in. Yeah, so they let me in. I didn't have to audition anymore. So the jazz director knew that I wanted to go again. He was like, come, so I just went.
Okay, so what was your journey like after high school, going into actually doing what you do now? Like, was it easy transition?
No, it was not an easy transition. When you're in your hometown, you pretty much are, if you're a musician or whatever you are, everybody knows you and you're one of the best there. That's just what it is. You can get very comfortable in that. Most musicians do. Every state you go to, there's that guy. There are a few cats. And they're like, those are the guys. And I didn't want to be comfortable with that because I knew there was stuff elsewhere. Because my high school, luckily, Beyonce went there too. I went to high school with her. I was a senior, she was a freshman. Unless she went to this church. But my high school used to take trips to different jazz conferences around the country. So we go, and you get to see all these great musicians from other states play, which is eye-opening. Like, oh, there's another 15-year-old kid playing piano that's really good. Dang, it puts it in perspective. And he's playing jazz, you know what I mean? Like, these cats are playing jazz, cats are playing what I want to play. And then you see all these college kids playing at these conferences, and it's like, oh, I want to do that. So I saw these guys from New York playing, with a college. And I was like, I want to go to New York. Like, I want to hear playing like that. I never heard playing like that or seen it. And they all were brown like me. You know what I mean? I'm like, yes, you know what I mean? That made me want to move, you know. So I practiced all the time. I played at church. I played here at Brentwood Baptist Church.
Okay.
And I started off at East Wing Baptist Church. It was a really small storefront church, like 40 people. My mom was the music director, and she used to let me come up and play the organ there. They had a broke organ on the side of the room somewhere. And I used to go up there when I was like 12 and play one finger, literally, like play Happy Birthday, because he would be like at the end of the services, whose birthday is it? And somebody would come up and give him some candy. So she let me play Happy Birthday. I played one finger at that point, you know. But she just kept letting me play, and then I just easily found my way, you know. But I started at 12, you know. That's late, you know. But once I started, it just kind of snowballed.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that's the natural talent I have actually comes. I don't even think I've spoken this on camera before, but when I was in my mother's stomach, you know, her boyfriend at the time, you know, my mom got pregnant late. I mean early, you know, she was like 18 years old, something like that, 17. And, you know, her boyfriend at the time, my father, you know, beat her really bad and fell down the stairs and all this stuff. And I almost didn't make it here. You know, they were surprised. I was damn near surprised I was born, you know. And the flip side to that is he's a pianist. She met him in church. He's the church organist, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I never met him, never, you know, it's been like since then. You know, I talked to him once, but that was it. You know, so that's like the flip side of it. It's like, oh, well, I'm here and, you know, I have this talent that I don't know how to explain because I didn't have training at first. I could just play. When I started, I could just play. You know what I mean? It's like, why, you know? So that's that. And then I moved to, you know, so anyway, I went to New York. So practice. Luckily, all the colleges come to PPA. When they come to Texas, they go to HSPPA because that's where most of the great talent for high school kids are. You know, so they come there, I audition. I got full scholarship to Berkeley College of Music and a full scholarship to the New School in New York. I had to choose which one I wanted, so I chose New York. Because everybody goes to New York once they finish college and anywhere else. You know, so I'm gonna be ahead of the pack and just go and be there. You know, so went to New York, and I just played a lot, hung out a lot at the jazz clubs, and learned as much as I could. You know, learned as much as I could. New York, there's so much to learn there. Just outside of the school was great. A lot of great music. I went to school with Bilal as well. You know, great singer. One of my best friends, an amazing singer. But we met the first day of school. He got full scholarship there for vocal, so we met. And it was like after that was done, we were together every day, writing music and stuff like that. You know, and then we would go out to the clubs just see all of our favorite jazz musicians playing. You know, there's nothing like that. There's no other schooling like that. You know, and so I was like, this is what I really want to do. This is what I really want to do. You know, and you know, to make a long story short, he got signed in our sophomore year of college. We were writing songs in my dorm room together, writing songs. And he had a guy that was a manager, took his tape to Jimmy Iovine at Interscope Records. Jimmy Iovine listened to half a song, stopped it, signed a song called When Will You Call? We wrote in my dorm room, I forget. And signed him, he started going on tour, and I was his music director. So I'm in college, going on tour at the same time with Bilal. This is when the whole neo soul movement started. And so Bilal's from Philadelphia, so that's when I became cool with Erykah Badu and Questlove and everybody in that whole neo soul camp, you know, Jill Scott, all of them, you know. So I knew them because of Bilal, and going on tour with Bilal, opening up for Common, opening up for Erykah, and doing all these things. It was amazing. I had to meet all these people and kind of get known in that world, you know. Yeah, I just kept at it, you know, kept at it, and like you said, everything's, when people, like, you know, like this is great because you never get the backstory of what people go through. You think everything's cool, but, you know, everything was fine for me, everything was great, you know, and then, you know, 2004 was probably the worst day, one of the worst days of my life, 2004, like a few days before my birthday. You know, I got a call saying your mom was killed, you know, on April Fool's Day. I'm like, this is not a funny joke. This is not April Fool's Day. It's not a funny joke. You know? And you know, my mom was just wrong place, wrong time, and was murdered. You know? Yeah, and I was like, you know, I can't even explain that whole, you know, yeah. So you know, I went. That was a hard time, a really hard time for me, you know. But literally, that made me change my perspective on everything. My mom was my biggest fan, you know. She was the biggest advocate for me all the time, you know. And so that really propelled me and made me want to strive even more and do even, you know, I didn't want to just be that guy's good, another good pianist. Everybody's good, who cares? Yeah, everybody's good, you know. I need something else. I want to do something else. I want to do something different. I want to make a difference, you know. And when that happened, that just made my mind, you know, switch gears. And so, you know, long story short, I kept practicing, kept playing, kept going on tour, and I started my own band. And then, you know, being in New York, you're more likely to have a record executive walk into your show than any other place, maybe LA. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Record executives come to my show. Man, you love your music, sounds great. I did a demo album like back in 2001. I gave him the demo album. He loved it. You know, started calling me to the office to have little meetings. I got signed. He signed me to Blue Note Records. And Blue Note Records is like a huge record. You know, it's historically the most prestigious jazz label there is ever. You know, so I got signed to that. I did a record. Went amazingly great. You know, I did another record in 2007, In My Element. That did even better than the first one. You know, it's topping charts that most instrumentalists don't get to. Right. You know, you don't get up to. You know, I was up there with Dinah Krall, you know, near there. I was the only instrumentalist in that world. Right. You know, 2009, another record called Double Booked, which all these records are piano trio records. And then through this whole thing, I'm still kind of on tour with Bilal, you know, and I'm still, at that time, I became friends with Mos Def. Yeah. And I became his music director. Became friends with Q-Tip. You know, yeah, Q-Tip, Common, all those cats used to come to my shows in New York throughout this time, you know, just because, like I said, I was in that world, so, you know, it became cool. I was the jazz guy in that world. Everybody's like, that's a jazz guy, you know. So I became these people, music director, and all these things were happening, and then, you know, that's when I decided, and then I was Maxwell's piano player. In 2009, I started playing Maxwell when he came back with Pretty Wings. Yeah, I remember that. So I did that tour. I did Maxwell for like 4 years. I stopped like 2013. 2013. Okay. I stopped. But yeah, so I was doing all these things, and I was in the mainstream doing all these other gigs, same time doing my stuff. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, and I was like, you know what? It's finally, I think it's time for me to do that album where I put everybody together. You know, and that album was Black Radio. Yes. You know, and that album, I didn't have any expectations. I was like, yo, I want to do stuff with the people I've been rocking with already. Right. Just put it on wax. I don't know what it's going to be. I wasn't thinking about no Grammys, nothing like that. I was like, I just want it to be dope. It's going to be a dope underground album. I thought it was going to be that album where everybody's like, you ever heard this? Woo! You know, but it made history. You know, this album, Black Radio, when it debuted the first week, it was number 4 in the hip hop R&B charts. So it was literally after it was Drake, Tigga, Rihanna, Robert Glasper Experiment, Black Radio on Billboard. At the same time, number 1 on the jazz chart. Okay. You know what I mean? Well, I'm sure that was a mind-blowing experience. Because who would have thought, but that's awesome that you came back and everything that you went through. Exactly. And then did what you did, but that was your motivation. That was my motivation. And that's what's encouraging the people. You know, everything isn't always good. Exactly. You experience normal life tragedy. What you're working on right now? Right now, in a nutshell, I'm working. I just finished scoring a movie with Don Cheadle. It's called Miles Ahead. It's a movie about Miles Davis, a part of his life. Yeah, so I finished scoring that movie in February, and now I'm currently working on. I'm producing for Sony. For Sony, I'm producing an album, a Miles Davis remix record, and then for RCA Records, at the same time now, I'm producing a Nina Simone tribute record. because there's a Nina Simone documentary coming out in June. It's amazing. I saw it. It's amazing. So those are things I'm working on now. And I have a trio album coming out June 16th called Cover. We'll do a lot of cover songs, a trio style. So songs from Music Soul Child, Wow, Kendrick Lamar, Joni Mitchell, Radiohead, like a bunch of things. So that'll be out in June. So
that's a lot to look forward to.
Indeed.
But thank you so much
for your
time, for telling your story. Of course, it changes lives.
Yes, indeed.
And just being so transparent.
Yes, indeed.
It's not easy for everybody to do that.
Right.
So I thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.